Good morning, my name is Melanie Chiara.
And I'm Father Nathaniel, and we're grade 11 students from William International School, Maputo, Mozambique.
Our project is about chemical waste reduction, reducing the effects of fertilizer runoff. For our lab, the impact the fertilizer has on the environment was studied. To reduce that impact, our lab was conducted to create a new greener fertilizer. The objective is to create a fertilizer that has less concentration of nitrogen and phosphorus, because those nutrients are out of approximately 12 nutrients that a plant needs. When nitrogen and phosphorus enters the water, it creates eutrophication. Eutrophication can cause a loss of habitat for the other living organisms. Even when you drink a contaminated water, can cause dangerous disorders such as methemoglobin. According to our researchers, it was determined that the combination of eggshells, banana peels, and coffee grains are beneficial to both plants and environment. The new fertilizer were named EBCO.
Then, what is fertilizer? Fertilizer is a chemical compound made up of different substances. These substances are divided into two groups, macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are essential elements that are needed by the plant in large quantities. These elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and sulfur. Micronutrients are elements that are only needed in small quantities by the plant, and these elements are boron, molybdenum, zinc, nickel, chlorine, etc. Due to the greater need of macronutrients, 0.50% to 6% of the fertilizers are all consistent of these macronutrients, while due to the less need of micronutrients, their quantities range from 0.50 to 400 parts per million or less than 0.04% of the fertilizer. Now we are going to give a detailed chemical description of the waste and a detailed description of the method used to determine the concentration of waste in water. Nitrogen is a gas that is odorless and colorless at room temperature. And it's also considered the fifth most abundant element in the world, making up 78% of the Earth's atmosphere. In order to get nitrogen into fertilizers, ammonia is produced. Nitrogen is important because it assists in the production of proteins, enzymes, and DNA. Phosphorus is often found as a solid at room temperature. In order to get phosphorus into fertilizers, phosphoric acid is produced. Phosphorus is important because it assists in the production of new cell tissues, cell division, and helps in the growth and happiness of the plant.
Nitrogen and phosphorus are two harmful nutrients for the environment, but we also have nutrients that aren't harmful. For example, potassium is essential for a chemical reaction in a plant. Calcium supports permeability of the cell membrane and provides structural support. And chlorine is used for carbohydrate metabolism. We have various ways to control the concentration of nitrogen and phosphorus. To determine the concentration of nitrogen, we have the brown ring test and the diverse test. As I said before, we also have methods to determine the concentration of phosphorus in water by adding an ammonia atomoblidating reagent and tin chloride reagent. Then, the solution will turn a shade of blue, which we can compare to a color chart to determine the concentration.
How does fertilizer enter water system? Fertilizer can enter water system through two ways, groundwater and surface water. In groundwater, we also have two ways, through runoff when it rains and through leaching when the fertilizer passes directly from soil to groundwater.
When the surface water becomes polluted, the phosphorus in the fertilizer reacts with the algae, making it grow faster. It starts accumulating over the surface, blocking sunlight, which causes aquatic plants to die. This depletes the amount of oxygen, as the plants can't produce anymore. When the algae dies of heterotrophic bacteria, the water becomes without oxygen, creating an anoxic condition which kills most living organisms.
How and why are fertilizers produced? Fertilizers are produced to enhance a plant's growth and development by providing additional nutrients that are beneficial to the plant. Most of the fertilizers used nowadays are made up of non-renewable resources. The phosphorus that are used in fertilizers comes mainly from phosphate rocks as sand or clay. This process of extracting phosphorus is also bad to the environment. Once the phosphorus is extracted, it's sent to a chemical processing plant where it's transformed into phosphorus compounds that are used into fertilizer. The nitrogen used in the fertilizer is saturated into ammonia that comes mainly from the atmosphere. The nitrogen combines up with hydrogen that comes mainly from natural gas. These two gases are put under pressure and heat of 400 degrees Celsius, and then ammonia is formed. The only problem with this method is that it uses a lot of energy, and it's a fact that it uses 2% of the worldwide energy, which also costs a lot.
How does fertilizer runoff affect human health? Fertilizer runoff that enters the human system are deadly to humans. There are a couple of ways to enter the human system. The first one is the poisonous algae. During the process of eutrophication, some algae blooms secreted toxic substances. The algae are named blue-green algae, and the toxins are named cyanobacterial toxins. And their secret has mucus. When the algae blooms becomes old and dies. The other one is high nitrates and blue baby syndrome. When the levels of nitrates are too high, can cause serious issues for babies. The babies that drink the contaminated water are unable to process the nitrates as older people. The nitrates can cause a fatal blood disorder, such as methemoglobinemia and blue baby syndrome. The symptoms are diarrhea, vomiting, and lethargy. In most severe cases developing, it starts a coloration around the nails, lips, and skin, and they have also breathing problems. The purpose of this project is to investigate the impact the fertilizer has on the environment and to create a fertilizer that will have less concentration of nitrogen and phosphorus, which will be less harmful. Hypothesis: if eggshells, coffee grains, and banana peels are used as a fertilizer, then this mixture will produce a less harmful runoff because they have less concentration of nitrogen and phosphorus. Then, because of this, the plants will be larger and greener.
In this experiment, we used 3 sets of 4 plants that were grown in 3 different ways. The first set were grown without any fertilizers and were given only water. The second set were given Miracle-Gro fertilizer, and the last set were given EBCO fertilizer. Before we start this experiment, I'd like to warn that fertilizer can be irritating, so I advise to use gloves and do not drink fertilizer.
The materials that we used for this experiment are water, ruler, blender, eggshells, banana peels, coffee grains, a clear plastic container, a pack of fodder gill seedling sprouts, etc.
Making the EBCO fertilizer. First, we obtain 1 eggshell and use the blender to blend it until fine powder. Then we use 0.3384 grams of coffee greens and mix with 0.2256 grams of eggshell powder. Then we take 1 banana peel and we blend it and mix 0.1128 grams with eggshell powder and coffee greens. Then we take 2 liters of water and we mix all of them through.
Making Miracle-Gro solution. 1. Scrub 2.5 milliliters of Miracle-Gro fertilizer and 2 liters of water and mix thoroughly. Preparing the pots. Fill the 12 G5 pots up to 3 centimeters with soil. Place 20 meter fodder gills, seedlings, and sprout seeds into the soil. 3. Cover seeds with soil up to 4.5 centimeters. Then separate the pots into 3 groups of 4. The first group you will label as none. The second group you will label as EBCO, and this third one has Miracle-Gro. The second step is to take 25 milliliters of PBCO fertilizer solution and pour into the 4 pots labeled as Miracle-Gro fertilizer. Take 25 milliliters of PBCO fertilizer solution and pour into the 4 pots as labeled as EBCO fertilizer. Then take 25 milliliters of Miracle Grow fertilizer and in the pots that are labeled Miracle Grow fertilizer. Then take 25 milliliters of water, put in the 4 pots that are labeled as none. Then water each pot once a day a week. And finally, record all the observations during the process.
In the end of this experiment, it was observed that the plants that with ABC fertilizer had the height of 10 centimeters, the pH of the soil was 7.5, the nitrogen and the phosphorus level were low, and the potassium level was high. Then we observed the set with Miracle Grow fertilizer. It was observed that the plants had 8 centimeters, the pH of the soil was 8, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium level were all medium. Lastly, we observed the set with no fertilizer. The height of the plant was 7 centimeters, the pH of the soil was 7, the nitrogen and the phosphorus level were very low.
By taking masses of the eggshells, coffee grains, and banana peels, it was possible to determine the concentrations of the 3 most essential nutrients for the plant growth: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. It was concluded that EBCO fertilizer was a better fertilizer than Miracle Grow fertilizer. Thank you.